Hey guys, we're going to be going over the 3 games that I played against Grandmasters, and these are games that I played online on chess.com, Bullet, and these were like a few months ago. In fact, 2 of them were in late 2020 in November, and in this game, this is the first game that I played against a Grandmaster. I was rated 2256 at the time, and my opponent is 2421, and the name is Gorato on chess.com. I think it's a Grandmaster from Croatia, but I'm not sure. But here we're going to be analyzing the first game. So we have e4. And I'm playing black in this game, by the way. I play d5, the Scandinavian. And we have d4 from white, which is a bit of an inaccuracy. It allows me to equalize. But I pre-move queen d8 because before I had expected knight c3, which is the main line, and I play the queen d8 variation. But okay, we have the pre-move, knight c3. Then we have a transposition where knight c3, queen d8 is played, then d4, and then knight f6, which is a mainline version of the Scandinavian. And then we have bishop c4, c6, adding control over d5. And I'm currently battling with white to control the d5 square. We have bishop g5, now threatening to take, maybe play knight e2, castle, and then break with d5. And white would have a 4 on 3, because I would most certainly take with the e-pawn, so I can develop my dark square bishop. I develop my light square bishop, we have takes, and I take with the e-pawn, knight f3. The problem with knight f3, if I was white, I would prefer knight e2, because the squares that the knight can go to are controlled by this pawn. So what you want to do is you want to bring your knight to e2, so they can bring it to g3 or f4, where it has a lot of mobility. So like, for example, bringing it to g3, sorry my arrows are bad, bringing it to this square would attack the bishop with tempo, and it would be controlling some squares not controlled by a pawn. But we have knight f3, bishop e7, because if I play bishop d6, there might be some checks, and I'm going to have to put my queen in the way and capture with the king, or else I'm just going to be wasting a move with my bishop. So I'll just play bishop e7, covering the file. We have castles on opposite sides, so this means at pawn attacks, we have to do pawn storms. Rook e8, getting the rook on the same file as the queen. We have queen d2, knight d7, knight h4. We have bishop g6, and I have the very rare Tetris pawn formation where we have a square. Sorry, this is not the move that is meant to be played. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a square made of pawns, so very rare to see that. We have queen d3, threatening to take because currently my pawn is pinned to the king by the bishop. So we have knight b6. He can't take the pawn because I'm going to take the bishop, and I play f5 to block the queen. He plays g4, trying to open up the king side. I sacrifice a pawn, offer a queen trade, but I centralize my knight, and we have him putting his rook on the open g file. We have takes, takes. I double his pawns, and now rook e4, intending to prevent h4 or f4, and also potentially doubling up and attacking that queen later, maybe. We have rook g3, fancy move. White wants to double up and threaten to take the bishop here, where this pawn, both of these pawns will be pinned. So we have rook here doubling up. We have takes preemptively. I would have preferred rook here because I need to move this bishop now. And I mean, I would probably play something like takes and then check. Oh no, not check. I would play here. I would probably play queen d6, protecting the bishop and threatening to check on a3. But he takes preemptively. I play king f8 because I want to. I mean, it's my only move, but I'm intending to run with the king and stay safe. And I trade pieces. We have king d2, and I patrol the g file just in case I need to protect the king. I play rook g7 to block the check. f3, queen f5, check, block it. We have queen h4. I take the pawn. He plays check. King d2, king c1 from d2. Queen check. Queen f5, intending to go here and then advance my f pawn. And now I can play king there. And if he was gonna go here, I would have probably blocked with the rook. And then he breaks in the center with d5, intending to give me a bunch of checks. But I argue that this is, I mean, if he plays queen c5, I probably play queen e7, and after check, I go back. And now he can go here, and I could go back, but I could probably play here. And he could potentially give me a draw here, but I think I'd find a way out. I intend to walk my king all the way over to the queen side because I had enough of having it being checked on the king side. I offer a queen trade. He says no. Queen d6, putting pressure on the bishop and guarding my f pawn. Bishop e7, rook attacks. We have check, king e7, threatening queen e8 checkmate. So at this point we're low on time. He has about like 1 second. So I'm anticipating a pre-move here. So I take, and he runs out of time. I'm winning in this position. I could probably play something like queen. I could probably play queen d8 because now I block the check. I block the checkmate, and if he checks me here, I'm going to go back. And now I'm threatening queen b6 check. So this is just obviously, no matter what, he was going to run out on time. So this is the first game. The first game I win as black against the Grandmaster. This is my first ever win against a Grandmaster. Even if it's in bullet, I'm so proud of it. But let's move on to that second game.